Friends, this morning I'm invoking the Reverend Albert Wingate rule. He decreed that one does not have to wear a coat and tie in the summer months. And I just felt it was a little warm up here. It'll get warmer in a minute when I crank up. So just sit back. I want to do it. Who said that? I want to start with the story of Noah and the great flood from Genesis. And I implore you, do not take that story as literal historical truth. It is truth, but come on. I had the opportunity once to study under one of the great Bible teachers of the world, Professor James Charlesworth of Princeton, and he said, everything in the Bible is true, and some of it might actually have happened. So you get that these are stories, but they're not meant to be literal. In my previous ministry, we had a wonderful preschool. And a lot of the children were Buddhist, some Hawaiian, Native Hawaiian spirituality, some their parents had no spirituality, just a great school. And the director of that preschool would tell me when I was doing little lessons for the children, never speak on the flood story. It frightens the children. Can you imagine God, the Creator, this infinite mind and infinite love, could get so angry that he would drown not only all the people, but all the animals as well? Now, talk about a dysfunctional parent. I mean, really. And you think that Noah, one man, first off, he can gather all the animals, and that he can build a boat by himself, and maybe his children, large enough to hold, and forget the food. How much food's going to have to be on this cruise ship? You know, and then where's he going to get the entertainment? I mean, really. But you see, I don't want to burlesque the story. Well, maybe I do. But the thing is, it's telling a truth. It's telling lots of truths. And remember, the ending of that story is God said he'd never do it again. God never did it the first time, but he said he'd never do it again. Set a rainbow in the sky. When you see a rainbow, you know that God is not going to do this ever again. But this was primitive people in a developing spiritual culture trying to figure out, well, if God made everything, where did evil come from? And if evil was on the face, what would God do about it, you see? It's an attempt to understand that. But to me, it's also a story about preparation. If you want to succeed at anything, you have to prepare. It wasn't just that Noah got the message from God because he did love God and he spoke with God and didn't just get it and say, okay, when the time comes, I'm just going to bop on over to Galilee and see if I can buy me a boat. Now, the boats over there were kind of little, by the way. They were fishing boats, and the Sea of Galilee is not a sea. It's just a lake. It's just a big lake. So, but preparation. He had to do preparation, and we're going to talk about this. You see, I believe everybody wants to succeed. Everybody wants to succeed. But not everybody has the will to work, to prepare to succeed. You get that? Yeah, I want to show up and I want to be the star quarterback. I want to be the best minister. I want to be a doctor, a lawyer, and all those kind of things. But you have to be willing to work to get that. Now, some people say, well, not everybody. Haven't you ever heard of fear of success? Yes, I have. And I've heard of fear of failure as well. But that's not that's not the deepest part of you. Everybody wants to succeed at the real of them, at their heart of hearts. They want to succeed at something. And success is something different for everyone else. Brenda and I have come to, at this point in our life, at this young age, to a new definition of success. We'd like to be out of the business of owning a house and doing yard work and all that sort of stuff and move into a condo, but we're thinking smaller. We want to simplify. Thoreau said that, right? Simplify, simplify, simplify. But you know, someone said if he were really serious, he would have only said it once. Simplify. So we want to simplify, and to prepare for this, I've been Because, you know, who controls the clicker controls the household, right? So I've been making Brenda watch Tiny House Nation. Any of you watch that? You know, people a couple moves into 240 square feet and it's on a trailer and they can just take their house wherever they want to go. We're not going to do that. But at some point, the host says, all right, how many pairs of shoes do you have? We saw this last night. And she said, 30. He said, cut it down to 5. And the woman went, what? 5? Let's see if we can find more storage, she says. And they did. They did find for her shoes. You know, but one of the things we're having to release is my mini gym, weights and the whole thing, and I love that. But I figure if we move to a condo, then they'll have a fitness center, right? And I won't have to have this. And so we sold it. We sold it to a young woman who has some health challenges, something like MS, and we gave a really good deal. But we had to get some people to help disassemble it. And we're in the process of shedding. You know what I mean by that? We don't need all the stuff we have. And we've accumulated a lot in 30 years of marriage. But when we got the mini gym disassembled and moved out to the truck, there was something behind it. It was a fabulous piece of art, but it was not facing out, it was facing the wall. And I said, my goodness, what is this we have stored back there? And I turned it around, and it was an oil painting of Elvis on black velvet. And I thought, oh man, you know, it's like, how can I live without that? And have you ever done those things, those white elephant things where you get your staff together and you have a drawing? And I think I lost that year. But the guy that was helping me said, oh, I know that I have a friend who's an Elvis fan. He will love this. I said, here, take it. How much money do you want to take this off my hands? But you see, for us, success at this point in our lives will be to shed, to live simply. So, but everybody wants to succeed. And there was an amazing, amazing thing that was all over the news this week about 2 women soldiers who have succeeded at something no woman has ever succeeded at before. Do you know what it is? Ranger. U.S. Army Elite Ranger. Now, I'm not a warrior, but I am so proud of them. And I know something about what they went through. Our nephew, Brenda's my nephew, Martha's grandson, Jake, completed Ranger school successfully a few years ago. We went to his graduation at Fort Benning. And let me tell you, have any of you ever been to a Ranger school graduation? Now, these people are not robust at that point. They have others who show you what they can do, from jumping off mountains or climbing mountains or jumping out of planes or out of boats, all these things they can do. But the graduates are emaciated. They have sunken, eyeballs, and they are hungry, and they just have them sit. They have starved them. They have deprived them of sleep. They've made them live in swamps with snakes and alligators, and they have climbed mountains in North Georgia. They have worked on the plains where it's 100 degrees at Fort Benning, and by the time they're graduate, and you see, it's to stress them out and see how they do. And our nephew Jake was so proud of him. He had to do the swamp training twice, not because he didn't have the abilities, but as an officer, he had to make sure his whole men under him succeeded. And if they don't, you don't graduate either. So he had to do it. It's an amazing thing. Now, did these people, men and women, just say, hey, who wants to be a ranger? Oh, me. They had to what? Prepare. And they had to prepare themselves in all different manners, not just physically. Such a great accomplishment for them, and I'm very proud of them, just as I was very proud of my nephew Jake. Preparation. The success did not happen just because they wanted it. They had to have the will to prepare to succeed. The will is a God-given power. Charles Fillmore said we have 12 spiritual powers. He identifies the will as the chief executive officer of all the other powers. The chief executive. It is the one that is in charge. Yesterday, Brenda and Daryl and I, some of the rest of you may have been at Barbara King, the Bishop Barbara King's 85th birthday party. But she handed out the material from her church. They study 112 powers every month. They've been doing this year after year after year. And guess what the power is? Jan, don't tell them. Larry, don't tell them. What is the power for August? Will. Yes, will. And they celebrate that. Celebrate will, the willpower. Now, willpower can get you a lot in this life. It can also be awesomely destructive. Tyrants in all fields have strong willpower, the will to win, to get it done. What we see, though, is the will needs to be under the direction, the sponsorship, the mentorship of the Christ mind, the spiritual will. And then it becomes not the will of I want what I want when I want it, but I am willing. I am a willing, humble servant leader. And I will tell you, there's a lot of people in this world that have successes in some sense that are not willing, humble servant leaders. Some of them are in ministry. Some of them are in government. Have you noticed? Some of them are in business. Some of them are military dictators. But the world needs us to be willing towards spirit. Willing towards spirit. Not a God that's a puppet master up in the sky, but God within, the divine of us, the highest self of us. We need to be willing toward it. So I call the power willingness as opposed to willpower. So, the will to prepare to succeed. There are 4 areas, friends, that we have to prepare to succeed. The first is spiritual. Again, I will tell you, you can get a lot without this one, but you can cause a lot of harm and a lot of unhappiness and a lot of destruction if you are not willing towards spirit. But we need to spend the time every day surrendering our will. I know that I have the challenge this lifetime of willfulness. I know I have an ego. Did any of you escape that in this incarnation? That's why I need to consciously turn, and I ask to turn my mind and my heart over to the infinite mind and heart of God every day. And it is an everyday thing. Any of you any kind of 12-step or recovery program, you know it's a day at a time, because it's so easy to get off the path and do what my way. And we sing those songs. I did it my way, you know. But it's the way of the higher self way that we're after. So after we get that inspiration, then we go forward. Then you see we've got the universe and God and spirit and all of that behind us, supporting us, lifting us up. But then comes the mental and academic preparation. You see, we have the spiritual preparation. And I put that first. You would expect that of me. But the mental and the academic. Brenda and I have a friend who, in her 30s, a major life changes. Relationship broke up. They had to sell the house that she and her partner were in. She had an automobile accident. There were some physical things, you know, and she was floundering, and she was depressed, and she was lost, and I'm not going to say hopeless and helpless, but pretty darn near that. And so she had to do that searching, that soul searching, find her direction, and she felt led to go into nursing, a great profession that is so needed, science. And she realized, I didn't finish my college degree. So I'm going to have to go back and finish my college degree and then go into the nursing program. But you see, she had the spiritual foundation. She was inspired to do this. She moved back with her parents, and they were happy to welcome her in and help her and support her. And so she went through the basic science courses that she needed in nursing. And now today, She is in a supervisory, a management position in nursing. But you see, she had to prepare. It wasn't like, oh, want to be a nurse? Or, hey, let me just look in a book and say, oh, I could be a teacher, I could be a this, I could be a that, I could be a that. She had to get centered. What is mine to do? And more importantly, what is not mine to do? You can go down all these blind alleys, but she got that. So the first is spiritual preparation, and then there's mental or academic as you are needed, and then there's emotional. Sarah Buchanan talked some about that this morning, and it was a beautiful thing that she shared. A lot of us have our emotional stuff that we have not resolved, and it holds us back. Some of it might be, I'm not good enough. Some of it might be that I'm not worthy. And you see, a lot of us, when we were little, developed an attitude of feeling, an emotional belief about God and the universe that really was dependent on the way our fathers were. It could be mothers as well. And if they were inconsistent, if they were harsh, if they were unloving, if they were sometimes there for you and sometimes not, sometimes rewarding and sometimes punishing, guess how we feel inwardly about God? Sometimes there for, sometimes not there for, sometimes absent, sometimes punishing, you see. And we learn in ministries like this that God is all good, everywhere present, all love, infinite mind, totally 100% for you. But there's still that feeling that says, no, I'm not. I don't deserve. I don't this, because that's... And you've got to deal with that. You've got to deal with that emotional. And it may be that you need a minister. It may need a life coach, maybe a licensed teacher. Maybe you need psychotherapy. But this can hold you back unbelievably. I have another friend who had sort of an emotional thing of, boy, he'd be right there at the edge of success and then sabotage himself. Worthiness issues. Until he dealt with that. You see, that's something from a time that that had been shoved down. In his particular case, he had not known his father. And so there was this thing, I'm not worthy of having a father. So he'd get that close to success, and he'd fail. He's dealt with it. Emotional preparation. Don't skip this one. You might be tempted to skip the spiritual. You know you can't skip the mental and academic. You're not going to say, hey, I want to be a doctor and just start practicing medicine. Hey, I want to be a civil engineer. I don't know anything about engineering, but hey, let me draw this bridge. You don't do that. But what about the emotional? Do you know that it is God's will 100% of the time for you to be successful and fulfilled? Do you know that? Yeah. Well, I hope you do, because, I talked to God this morning before I came here. And God said, yes, that's true. For all these people I'm talking to today, it is God's will for you to be successful. Is that good? So if you've got some stuff that I'm not good enough, I was born on the wrong side of the tracks, I'm not smart enough, get over it. And I'm saying that to me too. So get over it. And I'm saying, get over it. Okay? You get it? I got to get over that too, because those residual things hold us back. And then finally, we've got to do the physical preparation. What if Noah didn't build the ark? He said, oh man, I thought you were kidding, God. Really? The floods are coming? They're here now? I don't have the time to build an ark. What am I going to do? Well, build your ark. Start now to build your ark. You want to be a ranger? Get ready. Get ready. I would say, probably the U.S. Army does not say it, but they do have chaplains. Get spiritually ready. Get the mental and academic. Get your emotions right. I want to go to that emotional thing for a second, back to that. You see, we are hoping this year in Atlanta to have a good football team. Most professional football teams have magnificent players, but there's a difference between the winners and the losers, and it doesn't have to do with the air pressure in the footballs. It has to do with emotionally, do you feel that we can do it? We are unstoppable. And that's the part that is a very challenging part. There's so many great coaches there that know all the X's and the O's. Do you feel? Then are you willing to get out there and do what it takes to succeed? You know, I think you come to this church because you do want to succeed. This is not a church that is a mealy-mouthed, you're a lowly sinner, you know, and you've always been that and you'll always be that, and you ain't going to get anything good in your life till you die. That's not what we're about. We are about now is the time, and I say your success is determined by your preparation. I want to just say something, and I'm talking out of school here, and forgive me for this, but my administrative assistant is going on a trip this week to take her eldest daughter to Los Angeles, where she is desirous of having a career in showbiz. We all know her, and this is the week they're taking the trip, and you see, let me tell you about that young woman. She is spiritually prepared, she's academically prepared, she's got the emotional wherewithal to that, and now they got to get out there. And so you and your daughter will be hopping in her car, and it's going to be a great trip. And the other daughters are going to join her in Flagstaff. They're going to get to see the Grand Canyon. This is going to be Thelma, Louise, Donna, and Jane. You know, they're going to play. But it's going to be the wonderful thing. But you see, if you do the preparation, God and the universe rush in and support you, and you will succeed. God told me to tell you that this morning. And you've got it. You will succeed. Let me just say this. Say with me, I will succeed. Together, I will succeed. I will prepare to succeed. I will prepare to succeed. Success is already mine in consciousness. Success is already mine in consciousness. That is the truth. If you believe it, it is yours. It is yours. It is yours. It is done now because you have the will to prepare to succeed. God bless you.